start in the off season.
Yeah. And let's kind of quickly talk about this story, Pete. I know this is kind of quick, and then we'll kind of move on. And this could be combined with
Oh, we're
probably
good.
maybe a different story. We've got Emoni Bates. Breaking news. Emoni Bates is entering the transfer portal after his freshman season with Memphis basketball. We all know the history of Emoni Bates. Clearly, played against Chet Holmgren in that big game. Coached by Penny Hardaway and his AAU team, went to Memphis, who Penny Hardaway is now the coach of, and he's looking to get into the transfer portal and maybe go back to Michigan State, where he probably should have went, but he probably should have played another year in high school. Again, the disappointing part about Emoni Bates was that he was supposed to be projected to be the number one or number two pick um, last year. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
or sorry, he's supposed to be the number one pick last year going into his 2023 season with Victor Wembanyama, and it was supposed to be a huge battle between those two. And then now he's kind of fallen off. He's been disappointing in some regards. He had the back injury and other things like that. What do you make of this Amani Bates situation that now he's transferring, he's leaving Memphis and potentially going to a different team?
Oh man, this is an interesting one. I mean, I think like this is dependent upon where he goes, obviously. Like I can imagine him going to a smaller school, just maybe like be like legit number one on, some smaller program. And I think like we've seen this in recent years work out pretty well for certain players. Like I can come up with one right off the top of my head is Quentin Grimes. Like highly touted recruit coming into Kentucky, I believe, or no, Kansas, I believe is where he went. And then it
Mm-hmm.
just didn't go very well. Transfers to Houston and just gets better without all of the scrutiny of being at one of these major programs for one and done players.
Mm-hmm.
So the kid still has, I mean, there's a reason he was like the number one ranked player at his age range for as long as I can remember, even his class being talked about, right? Like I feel like he was number one from the minute that class got even discussed. There's a reason, man. I mean, he's a huge talent, but I can be honest with you, I really didn't watch much of anything from him. I don't know how much he played. I don't think he played very much, right? Memphis.
Let me go back there. Yeah, he didn't really play that much in the last couple because he had a back injury. He wasn't playing particularly too well, and that's the reason why the team actually did a lot better without him
Yeah.
in the coming weeks going into the tournament. The reason why they honestly made the tournament. Um, I just think for me, like what's going on right now is when it comes to a guy like Amani Bates, and I'm apologizing to everybody that my camera's a little bit blurry right now, but I think for me, when it comes to Amani Bates, I think he probably should have stayed in high school, at least another season, and then gone to college. Because I think what happened was that they tried to rush him out too fast. Because you have the momentum of he's the number one he's the number one player in the 2023 class, or number one or number two. A lot of teams were interested in him. He was going to go to Michigan State. It was going to be all set that way. And then he went a different route, went with his AAU coach at Penny Hardaway, and again, I think Penny Hardaway is a good coach. I think he does have some nice things that I like. But at the same time, the problem is that when it comes to a guy like Amani Bates, is I think he needs time and nurturement to really become the player that I think he can be. Now, is he going to be
Mm.
Kevin Durant like a lot of us thought he was? Probably not. I mean, there may be a possibility that he could be, but I think it's going to be less likely at this point. I think Victor Wembanyama is still the number one player in that class. I mean, you can clearly see he
Yeah.
is the real unicorn. If you guys haven't
That
watched him,
class, yeah. He's a freak.
please watch him if you guys haven't. Um, so yeah, I think for me, like when it comes to Memphis, I think they're gonna have to. I know we'll see if Penny Hardaway still stays there. Maybe he goes off to a different team. Maybe he goes to a bigger school. But in terms of Imani Bates, I think it's probably the right move for him. I just think that he probably wasn't expecting it to be this hard. And it looks like Michigan State's open. Ohio State is potentially another option. And then the last one is, of course, the G League, which may not be a bad option for a kid like him who needs that like NBA experience if
Yeah.
he's going to go into the draft next year.
This is the type, I mean, I was going to say, like, he might be the poster boy for a guy who should have gone to the G League in the first place. Like, talk about, being protected, being in a place where, thinking maybe you're good enough already is just not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're playing with adults, you're playing with grown men in the G League. Um, If I was him, I would go to the G League now. It would be a little less tempting than it should have been before this, but
Yeah.
go somewhere where they have all the they're more inclined with your potential long term than a college is, right?
Yeah.
Like they care much more about that. And there's still plenty of teams that would take a huge risk to try and get this guy rehabilitated, get him better.
Mm-hmm.
I would be going somewhere like that, because
Yeah.
you got to think like I don't know what Memphis's campus is like, what their facilities are like. I have to imagine that G League teams have better facilities than Memphis do.
I
I don't
would.
know,
I would.
man. I'd
Yeah, I'd
imagine.
probably say so. I mean, just because you're NBA backed, not college backed.
Sure,
But
and especially if you're talking like Ignite, right? Like they're trying to make it a minor league NBA team. Like it is that. Like they're trying to make
mm-hmm.
this a mini NBA team. So, oh man, if I was him, I would have gone to the G League in the first place. You already have the clout of an NBA player in terms of name recognition, like to younger people
Yeah.
and people who are like really on the nose with looking at these younger prospects. So, no, man, go there. Take advantage of the clout that you built for yourself in college and try and catapult that into the career you were looking for. Don't just go for these college programs and hope that the college team rehabilitates you in the way that works for their program. Because at the end of the day, like he had to not play him,
Yeah.
Memphis, like you said, right? Like if you're talking G League, like they're probably less inclined to do that than even college basketball is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think they care as much about winning seasons in the G League. It's not that big of a deal. They're worried about game to game or you getting better. They're not going to take you off the court to win games in the G League. Like that I don't think that matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Giannis is my MVP, Sean Palermo. I can't fault you at all. Best all-around player in the league to me.
Yeah. And everyone, let us know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of this Emoni Bates story? Are you guys wanting him on your basketball team? If you're Gonzaga, Sean, do you want Emoni Bates on your basketball team? Or if you're one of these other college programs, would you want a guy like Emoni Bates to join your squad and help you win an NCAA championship? Or do you think Emoni Bates should be a G League player? As many of us think that he probably should. He's obviously clearly got NBA aspirations. I think he still could be a good NBA player. The question is, how good can he be? And that's something that we're going to find out in the near future, as we kind of continue following his career moving forward. Let's see here.